I'm going to show you today your way around your new Etsy shop. So if you've logged in, this is your home page here, and you want to click your shop to get going. So let's just skip back a bit. This obviously is not my real Etsy shop. I have just made a new Etsy shop to show you the processes of signing up. So I've used one which is the same as my blog, which is Notes on Vintage. Okay, so first of all, you'll have the shop preferences. This is quite basic. It's just your language and what currency you want to get paid in. It really does help, obviously, if you get paid in the currency where you live. And then a quick sort of question, whether it's your full-time or part-time job. So save and continue. So this is your shop name. If you do decide you want to change this at a later date, you can change it. Obviously, it's better if you don't. And you'll notice that there's no spaces between your name. You just run it all together, and then you can make it stand out with the capital letters. So Notes on Vintage is available. I did check this before I started the process, and like I said before, it's also really good if you check that your name's free on Facebook and Twitter. Also, if you want a web address, it just makes it a lot easier in the future if you know that everything is available for you and nobody else is going to take it. So that's that. Let's go. So it won't let you open your shop until you put some items to sell. So let's try doing a listing. So on a desktop, this is how it will view. You always start off with the photos at the top, although you don't have to do it in that order. But let's start with the photos as it's there. So I'm going to start off listing a vintage backpack because I have quite a lot of these and it's quite an easy listing to do. Not that long ago you could only list, I think it was 5 or 6 photos on Etsy, but now they let you have a lot more, which is great. You can get more close-ups, more sort of somebody wearing the item, just lots of different angles. Obviously, the more photos you have, the more you can show off your product. But just for today, I've just got those listings just to sort of give you an idea. So this photo here is going to be your lead photo. This is what everybody's going to see on, Etsy, in your shop. That's what they're going to view. You can crop it. Oh, let's get rid of that. Wasn't going to show you this, but it's a good feature. You can just literally click and drag, so you can choose which one you want at the front, and it will change here. So you want to crop it, you do that one, and you can just move that up and down. If you want to crop something out of the picture that you didn't mean to photograph, or you just want to center it a bit more, that's what you do. A lot of people forget to do this, but it's quite important. Is obviously you want to show off your item in the best way possible, so you can adjust your thumbnail. That's what this is called, thumbnail. So it sits nicely in the center of the picture. You wouldn't want to miss anything off, and it just draws your eyes to the picture, so you just move it around and save. So there we are, that's that bit. So this is your title. This is what you're going to call your item. It's going to be helpful in search, and you've got a nice long line of 140 characters to use, and I would really advise using pretty much all of it. So let's start. So I'm going to call this a vintage black backpack. You can do it differently, but the way I do it is using one of those, just to sort of put a gap between your phrases, makes it stand out more, and I find it works well. The only thing you need to make sure is that there is definitely a space between the last word and the new word, like that. If it's just because if it's like that, then it won't get searched for. So now we want to try using a different phrase. So I'm going to call it a 90s leather backpack. So we're still using the word backpack because that's our key tag word. It's what will most get searched for. But if you just change the phrases round, then you'll find that it will get pulled up more. So now we're going to try something like 90s grunge purse, 90s leather back bag. Using plurals is good too, so you call it a rucksack or a backpacks even, sorry, and black leather backpacks, 1990s style. So there, you can see it's flashed up red. That's because we've gone over the 140 characters. So that's fine, we'll just take it back to that. You can always change these. In fact, it's definitely good to come back and reassess. Perhaps you've misspelt something, or the words don't quite make sense, or you want to just change your tags if you find that something's working really well. So now we need to categorize it. So about this listing, who made it? So if it's vintage, you always have to say another person or company. What is it? Well, it's a finished product. And when was it made? So to be vintage now, it has to be before 1999. So we're going to pick 1990 to 1998 because it's a 90s backpack. Then you choose your category. So this is a bags and purse. And then backpacks are so popular, it actually has its own category. So there we are. If I was just adding a normal bag, you'd choose handbags, and then you get another selection of, is it a clutch, crossbody, hobo, shoulder bags. I usually just plump for shoulder bags. That's a good, unless it's obviously a clutch bag. So we're going to go back here and just change it back to backpack. This is also a new feature for Etsy. You can narrow down the search a bit more by changing the colour, so it's black, and then you get a choice of a secondary colour if it was a mix of colours, but obviously this isn't. This doesn't really apply for vintage because you can choose the occasion if it's for something in particular. Same with celebration. Again, doesn't really apply. Right, so now we've got down to the nitty-gritty, it's the description. So you want to be looking to fill up most of that space. Obviously you can scroll down and have as much space as you like, really. Let's start with, you want to sort of again describe what the item is. Now to do this, you want to reuse those phrases you've used in your title. That will really help with search. So let's go, we want vintage, let's call it black backpack, lovely leather 90s vintage backpack purse. Okay, and then you can, you know, write more about it, perhaps write why it's so lovely, what benefits would it be for the buyer, what would you wear it with maybe, how does it feel, is it soft, is it hard, you know, answer all those questions like they had the product in their hands and they could actually feel it or use it. But I'm not going to do that all right now. Then once you've done that, you want to write the actual specifications of the bag. So you want to say that it's leather, that it's a vintage item, and maybe put the year. And then it's very important, people obviously want to know what condition it's in. So very good, or good, some marks or scuffs, you know, be really honest, because it's better to be like that than somebody get their item and you know it's not how it's supposed to be at all. The last thing you want is sort of bad feedback and people asking to send things back to you when you have to then obviously refund them. And then lastly, you want to put the measurements. So I do it in inches. You can do centimetres, but as long as you get the basic sort of width, height, maybe strap lengths, the depth of the bag, things like that, then that's all good. Okay, so that's that bit done. So here you'll see there's a section. You get, I think it's 12 or 15 different sections now. So if you're selling vintage clothes, you might want to do vintage dresses, vintage skirts, vintage tops, party wear. But for this, I'm just going to do vintage bags. Now, tags. This is what some of you have problems with, maybe. It does take time to sort of work out what you need to tag. Obviously, you have to fill out all 13, and the more you tag, the more, again, your product will get found in search and people will find you. So a good place to start is just copying what you have already put in the title, vintage black backpack, vintage black backpack. So there's your starting point. So we go vintage black backpack. So straight away you'll see that that is more than 20 characters. That's not a problem because what you do is just break it up. So we'll do black backpack, vintage backpack, do leather backpack, black leather, 90s backpack. Okay, so we're just copying the phrases we've used before, and if it needs breaking up, then you just break it up and then do it in two. So 90s grunge purse, we haven't done that one. 90s grunge purse. If you're still really stuck for tags, you'll see our website, Notes on Vintage. I've actually written a whole list of key tags and tag words that you can use specifically for vintage. I've done for style, era, types of clothing, what I found that really, really works. So do check that out and have a look. Let's try just, again, something simple. Backpacks. Not all your tags have to be 2 or 3 words. Sometimes you want to just have 1 word. So let's be really broad and just have vintage purses, vintage rucksacks, backpack purse. Let's see, how am I doing? I've got, tells you how many you've got, 3 left. Boho backpack, real leather backpack. So again, that's too long. So we could have real leather purse, black handbag. And we're nearly there. So now you just have to decide on what you want to sell your item for. Let's just put £25 on this one. You can ignore that because obviously there's only one. This would be, if you have loads and loads and loads of stock, you can give yourself a special code which your buyers won't see. It's just to tell you where in your stock room it is or what box it's in, or that sort of thing. So we leave that blank. And then your shipping. I can show you shipping in another video, but for now let's just keep it simple. So you want UK, processing time, I'd advise between 1 and 3 days, and then for now let's just push in the basic shipping price, and then everywhere else let's just do broad one, and then we'll come back to this at a later date. So we're all there, and then what you do, save and continue, and there it is, your first listing.